Hi, everyone. My name's Wei Wei. I run a consumer AI lab. I'm mostly based out of Shanghai, but I used to live in SF in New York. Um, and I'm here to share a series of prototypes that we've made in the last year or two. They cover a really, really wide range of ideas, and I hope they're fun to talk about. First of all, the kind of like demos that we've made in the last year or two kind of go from being very toy-like. Some of them are very consumer grade. Some of them are TikTok coded and very much built for distribution. Some of them are like sensory focused. So we'll cover the range. And first of all, we were playing with this idea of like, what if generative media is a playwright, and what if they're really a part of the content creation process? And what one thing that we made was this video tool where the generative part is a part of the experience and the content that is created. And so that was an interesting sort of like test that we built where generative media and the video model is used to enhance the entire experience. It's a little bit synesthetic. Um, then we also like ventured into a different field where we were like, okay, what if generative media is the do it, and what if we kind of like play with it, dance with it a little more? I trust that most of us have played with image models in different fashion. So one thing that you'll notice is like when you generate something, there's a before and an after, right? Like there's the original photo, and then there's something that's stylized or that's like created afterwards. They're very separated, and if you're sending it to friends, you either send just the result to them or you send a before and after photo. But we were curious about like what it would mean to sort of like help us traverse in between and help us like go between that to kind of like cover the travel space of that possibility space as well. So this prototype sort of like help us do that because it feels like those lenticular cards. And so as you're tilting your phone, you get to experience what going between them and the possibilities in that space could be like. We then were like, oh, what if there are multiple steps between that, right? Like, what if it feels like everything everywhere all at once at the movie? And in this case, oh, in this case, maybe the demo's not playing, but I can show it later where it really just like goes between multiple styles as you're tilting between different angles. We then started wondering like, okay, the result of this and the end product and end artifact is interesting. What about the input method? Because when we're thinking about input method, we're thinking about text prompting. And text prompting requires us to be fairly specific about what we're demanding, what we're asking for. But oftentimes we're not in a very concrete state, right? We don't really know what we're asking for. So is there a way for us to point the direction that we're trying to go for, but not be as specific as a text field asks us to be? So with this prototype, we were like, okay, emojis kind of do that, right? Like emojis help us direct the vibe, but maybe we don't have to be as specific about what we're asking for. So can we prompt with emojis instead? And or can we like specify the intensity of this, right? Like I want this to be as fiery as possible versus like I just want some fire in it. That was a series of prototypes that we've made. And dialing back a bit, we were also working with like understanding what does it mean to put generative media and generative models in the backdrop. So in the demos before that, these are all examples and demos where they're very much in the forefront. You can feel that it's AI, right? Like you know that AI is a big part of that process. But in the case where like generative media is in the backdrop, what does that look like? And with this app that we built, we actually use video models to animate wallpaper for people. And we encode it so that they're compatible for your iPhone. And in this case, most of our users don't actually realize there's video models behind it, there's AI behind it. That's not even the point, really. They really just want their favorite characters moving on their screen every time they open the phone, right? And through that process, and as I trust that builders in this room also feel that when you're building something, distribution is also super important. How do you get it out? How do you let people know about this? And we sort of like were very interested in that. We started testing what does it mean to use video models to create content at scale, and how can we actually distribute this. So we started testing that, programmatically create content assets so that we can actually distribute these across accounts and also across different characters so that people can find out about this. This is a particularly successful case where the wallpaper content really took off in this case. And this was replicated a few times. So we then started building internal tools for this, where you can actually create content for distribution at scale. And in this case, these tools are also in the backdrop. What people see and what viewers see are just content that are relevant to their interests. And since then, we've been able to really do that for the projects, the apps, the ideas that we've been wanting to test. So you can see that on the left, those are sort of like anime focused content that performed well. And then on the right, it's a different series of 2D characters that performed well on YouTube. Next, I'm going to take us into an entirely different direction. I'm going to talk about something that we've also used AI for, but it's also in the backdrop and with a lot of Eastern flavor. How many of you have heard of I Ching? It's Chinese divination. For those who are not familiar with it, you can kind of think of it as Chinese tarot reading or astrology. I Ching is about the book of change. Its central argument is that nothing is fixed and everything is in motion. So the wise person does not resist change, they read it. And then people who practice I Ching, they actually cast coins to generate the 6 lines that you see over there. And those 6 lines offer guidance on life's changing situations. And all of that sounds super complicated. There's an entire process, equation, poems for you to use to actually decipher it. So we actually used, we then made a tool for this to be very, very accessible, where you can actually ask a question and cast. The casting is actually not, it doesn't use AI, it uses a very specific I Ching sort of algorithmic math in it. And we create hexagrams for you based on the time that you've cast it. You then actually use your own LLM tools to do a reading on this, because we help you construct the prompt precisely so that LLMs would know how to read it and decipher it within your context. This is something that you can actually try today on hexagram.today. It's a very simple process, and it hopefully is fun, because it's a very sort of Eastern way of thinking about the future and navigating through life. So those are a series of prototypes that we've built, and hopefully they're interesting. I've also cut out a lot of prototypes due to the time constraint. So if you would like to learn more about what else we've made, feel free to come find me afterwards. We also made some stickers. So if you would like stickers, we have them with me. Thank you so much.